Welcome to the Ghostly Chronicles. The Lake That Whispers. It was supposed to be a quiet weekend getaway. Emma, Chris, and Zoe rented a cabin by the shores of Hollow Lake, known for its still waters and eerie silence. No one had stayed there in years, but the trio thought it would be fun, a chance to escape their busy lives. On their first night, as they sat around a campfire by the lake, they noticed something odd. The water was perfectly calm, but they could hear faint, distant whispers carried by the wind. "You hear that?" Zoe asked, looking toward the dark lake. "It's like voices. Probably just the wind," Chris shrugged, though the hair on his arm stood on end. Emma, the more skeptical of the group, laughed. "Ghost stories already?" But the whispers grew louder. This time, they weren't random, they were calling their names. Suddenly, the fire flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. The moonlight glinted off the lake's surface, which now seemed to ripple, despite the windless night. Then, out of the corner of her eye, Emma saw movement, a figure standing ankle-deep in the water, pale and motionless. "Do you see that?" she whispered, pointing toward the shore. The others turned to look, and there it was, a woman, her clothes dripping wet, her hair hanging limp over her face. Slowly she raised her head, and through the strands of her hair, they saw her eyes, wide, empty, and lifeless. Zoe stood frozen, fear clutching her throat. Chris grabbed her arm. "We need to get inside, now!" They bolted for the cabin, but as they slammed the door behind them, the whispers grew deafening, as if the lake itself was alive, beckoning them back. The woman was gone, but the water began lapping against the shore violently, rising higher than it should. "What's happening?" Chris gasped, pulling the curtains shut. Emma, her hands trembling, flipped through an old journal she'd found in the cabin earlier. "There's something in here about the lake. They say people used to drown mysteriously, pulled under by something unseen." Zoe's eyes widened. "You're saying the lake takes people?" Before anyone could respond, the front door creaked open on its own. Standing in the doorway was the woman from the lake, her wet footprints soaking into the floorboards. She stepped forward, and with each step, the air grew colder, the whispers more desperate. "Come back!" she whispered, her voice echoing with 1,000 drowned souls. The lights flickered, and as the figure reached out toward them, the cabin began to shake violently. Emma grabbed the others. "We need to leave, now!" They sprinted out into the night toward the forest. Behind them, the cabin collapsed into itself, sinking into the ground as if swallowed by the lake. The whispers faded, but the image of the woman and the sound of her voice stayed with them. They never returned to Hollow Lake, and the cabin was never seen again. But to this day, locals say if you stand by the shore on a quiet night, you can still hear the lake whispering, calling out the names of those who come too close. Please like, share, and subscribe.